My salutations to all of you. First of all, wishing you a happy and prosperous Navaratri. May you all be blessed with the Divine Mother's blessing. And I'm very happy that this week we could start the new class on Saundarya Lahari. It is such a nice text which connects these different traditions together, because in Gita, what we are going through is pure Advaita Vedanta, and the Saundarya Lahari connects this Advaita Vedanta with the Tantra and Shakteya traditions brilliantly, and that is done by Shankaracharya. So I'm very happy to do that. And we have Avanti also today. So we will continue our discussion. So we covered up to Shloka 18 last week. And today we will continue Shloka 19, and probably we will touch Shloka 20. As always, we wanted to understand where exactly we are standing in the study of the Gita. So we are talking about, or we are reviewing the second topic in the second chapter. The second topic in the second chapter is the most highest knowledge in Vedanta, and this is the solution for all the problem. Everything else can only address the solution partially, but the fundamental problem is addressed by knowing who you are and what you are. And we try to understand this step by step through each of these shlokas, starting from Shloka 11. Shloka 11 gave us an assurance that all my problems can be solved by knowing myself. Krishna said, Panditas do not get into a perpetual suffering. We try to differentiate what is suffering versus what is pain. And Panditas won't suffer perpetually. And who is a Pandita? The one who knows himself. It's not a Pandit we are talking about. A person who knows himself or herself completely, not partially, because we all know about ourselves. See, the consciousness in us is self-evident. I don't need to tell you that you are not conscious, but how much you are conscious about yourself. You're only partially conscious about yourself. In dream also, you're conscious about yourself, but your identity is pretty much limited. And you know for sure that your identity is much more than that dream identity. So like that, in the waking stage, you know yourself partially, how you express in that time and place. But the fact of the matter is that the scope of yourself, who you are, what you are, is much more than what you know. So what Gita is trying to do is expanding your awareness. You are trying to understand your scope completely. And that is how Krishna elaborates this. And then he clearly differentiates two things. As long as you are in your current identity, you are going to have problems, challenges, and with respect to the time and place you are in. When you are in the dream, nobody can remove all your problems. You are subjected to the problems of that dream world, isn't it? If you get a cut in the dream world, you are subjected to that. Nobody can remove it. You need to have tactical solutions, how to manage it. And Krishna is going to tell us how to deal with the current day-to-day problem. How do you manage it? That he is going to give. But what you need to understand is the foundational problem, or the most challenging problem, is the fear of death. And here he says that is nullified, because in your true sense, you are neither born nor dying. So natve vaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janati baha. We saw that shloka. And then we are trying to understand what is the nature of this Atma. Shloka 16 we said, avinashitu, meaning Shloka 16 we saw that there is no non-existence for this Atma. It was there in the past, It is there in the present. It is going to be there in the future. It is neither subjected to death nor subjected to any modification, not just death. Right? The body goes through that sixfold changes, but the Atma is not subjected to any of that modification. We saw that. And then in Shloka 17, we saw that then how many Atmas are there? There are millions of people or billions of people around me, 8.4 billion people around me in this world. How many Atmas are there? There is only one Atma. On the face value, we discussed, it is very difficult to believe. Gokul appears to be different from Rajesh. Rajesh appears to be from Avanti, and Sanjay appears to be different. And I interact with each one of them and different of objects completely as complete separate entity. So how this apparently diverse world find a unity? It's Shankaracharya brilliantly explains here. In your Swapna, the millions of people you interact and all the objects you interact, all the situations you interact, everything is you. But while you are in the dream, it appears that the other person is different and the other object is different. Everything appears to be different. But fact of the matter is that there is an underlying unity, and that unity is you. Like that, here also, everything appears to be different. Every people appears to be different. We are completely different from the other objects of the universe. But understand that the underlying reality of you and all the objects is one, and that is what we are calling as Atma. This Atma do not have any rebirth, and this Atma do not transmigrate. This Atma does not move. This Atma does not change. These are the characteristics of Atma, or the dimensions of Atma. Krishna is step by step unfolding. So we are taking our time and trying to elaborate. There was a question I will answer at the end. What is the difference between Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karma Sharira? So we will take that at 9:15. I haven't forgotten that. And I think, Guru, thank you very much for sharing that video. That video is an elaborate expression of that. Okay, so that's where we are. And today we are going to continue, because last week we said, like in Shloka 18 we covered. Let's quickly see that, and then we can move on to Shloka 19. So Shloka 18, let's listen, meaning listen. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmat yujasya bharata. So we spent some time on this Shloka. The bodies are subjected to an end. If I may add, the bodies are subjected to end. The bodies are subjected to change, modification. Shat bhava vikara. Asti, jayate, varthate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, pranashyati. Everything. But what about the Atma? It is Nitya. So the bodies may have a birth. Look at the plural. The plural, it is used here with a specific purpose, because I may have multiple bodies. The bodies may have a birth. The bodies may have a growth. The bodies may have a transformation. The bodies may have a decay. The bodies may have a death. But the underlying Atma is unaffected. Nitya Shoktya Sharirinaha. Anashino Aprameyasya. And this Atma is Anashi. It's a repetition from the previous Shloka. Anashi, it is indestructible. Even Ishvara cannot destroy it. Then Aprameya. Aprameya, we spent a lot of time last week. What is Aprameya? It cannot be known through the usual means of knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anupana, Upamana, Arthapatti, Anupalapti, nothing is capable of revealing Atma. There is only one means of knowledge to know the Atma, which is Agama, or the Shabda Pramana, or the Vedas. Only through the scripture you know that. So the word Aprameya used not because the Atma is not comprehensible or knowable. With the usual means of knowledge, with the usual pramana, it cannot be known. Then anashino aprameyasya, and therefore Krishna said, knowing that your identity, meaning there are two things he said. The bodies will come and go, the atmas are eternal. So don't be afraid to live your life. Do what needs to be done. So we spent some time also elaborating. This is not a call for war. Arjuna happened to be a warrior, so naturally his duty is war. Whereas for you and me, face the battle of life. That's it. Tasmat yujyasya bharata. This is what we saw up to here. Avanti, you want to add any comment here? Any additional points?
Namaskar. First of all, apologies for not being there for the past 2 weeks. I was in between a house move. Second thing is, heartiest congratulations to Project Self for starting the class on Saundarya Lahari. I think this is what we want to incorporate, that Project Self is to cater to all paths within the Advaita Vedanta tradition. And I think whoever can relate to the Shakti tradition and all of that, this is going to be hugely helpful. Another reason why I love that this class has started now is this Saundarya Lahari is an outpouring of Shankaracharya's bhakti. And for these verses that we are studying, for the 25 verses where Krishna is again and again and again and again telling us that we are Atma and we are not these bodies that are so temporary, primarily at this stage, we are going to need that bhakti. That bhakti in the word, the bhakti in the Gita, and the bhakti in the universal powers, that they are saying through the scriptures that we are Atma, much to the contradiction of the optics. Everything we believe is that we are the body, this is the world, this is what we are living and dying with. But it's very important at this stage to have that bhakti to understand if the Bhagavad Gita, if Krishna is saying we are Atma, then we are Atma, and go on that until we realize it. Because until we realize we are Atma, this solution to all our problems is not going to be, privy to us. We are not going to be able to use it at all. So that is something that is very important that we need to keep hooking on. Any investment at any moment when you say, I am the Atma, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, will take you into that truth and help you handle that challenge. Perhaps after that challenge, again, you'll go back into the body and say, no, it can't be, I can't be Atma. But momentarily, if you are consistently keeping on meditating on the fact that I am Atma, and these verses, repetition, why Rajesh is taking it so slow is that repetition of somebody telling you, at this point, somebody is telling you, you are Atma. And death over here, although Arjuna has to stand up and kill his kinsman, we don't have to kill anybody, neither, God forbid, we are dying, anybody who is around us is dying. Death is not our immediate problem, at least on this panel. But change, constant change, minute by minute change in life is our problem. And death, when we talk about, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, for us as householders, is this constant change. I know some of us on the panel are sending children off to university. Some of them are getting married. There's so many things happening, and every change, even a simple thing like this house move that I have done, challenged every part of my being. It keeps reiterating to you that none of this is permanent. None of this is going to stay forever. It helps us keep on moving without being held back by our attachments. Another thing is when Rajesh said that in a dream, nobody can wake you up. Suppose if you're sleeping in the night and you're having a terrible nightmare, nobody can tell you that you're having a nightmare. But when we make an analogy that this particular state of consciousness that we are dealing with is a dream, we are at an advantage, because in this dream, all our 5 senses are awake and enacted. And there is somebody, nay, not somebody, there are thousands of people, thousands of podcasts, thousands of classes, thousands of books consistently telling you this. It is a dream. It is a dream. It is a dream. It is not absolutely real. It is relatively real. We've spent so much time on Asat and Sat. So somebody is consistently telling us it's just a matter of switching from this year to that year. And instead of hearing, no, this is the end of my world, this change is going to devastate me, to go back to this class and say, actually, the Gita is saying this is not real. And that is how we will be able to make that move and find greater and greater peace in our life. And finally, the most important thing is our relationships, our interaction. Again, Navratri, a blessed time to realize that oneness between all of us. I've said this before, I'll say it again. We look different from each other. We have very different emotions from each other. We think very differently from each other. But the one thing that is absolutely common, what was said in the previous verse, the Atma is one within us. All our bodies, it's mentioned in plural, but the Atma is one. So at every moment, if you can get into that, first of all, through Navratri, whether it's to the goddess or to the Ishta Devata, whoever it is that you are connecting with, first of all, try and understand that oneness between you and that all-pervading power that we've been talking about, the indestructible power. And secondly, boil it down to the fact that that same power that you're connecting with in God exists in everybody around us. The people that we dearly cherish and the people that we cannot stand. The minute you make that triad, that connection, God, me, and everybody else, it's that one Atma. Everything starts changing in miraculous ways. So just think about all of these things and keep on contemplating. I am Atma, I am Atma, I am Atma. In the next few verses, all the different qualities of Atma that will be told to us, those are our qualities. They are not distant qualities. They are our qualities. The more and more we are able to express those qualities, the more and more we are able to tap into our own godhood.
Okay, so let's continue with the Shloka 19.
Adhyudhyasva Bharata Yayena Veti Hantaram Yaschainam Manyate Hatam Ubhau Tau Navijanitaha Nayam Hanti Na Hanyate.
Very interesting shloka. So let's see the literal meaning, and then we will deep dive into the deeper meaning of the shloka. So he tells, okay, you didn't hear the audio. Probably I didn't share the computer voice, so we will share that. Okay, so it says,
hear it.
oh, you could hear it. Okay, sorry. Okay, good. Okay, so it tells yayenam veti hantaram eschainam manyate hatam upau tau na vijanitaha nayam hanti na hanyate. So he tells whoever thinks this Atma is hantaram, the one who is killing. Remember, we are talking from the context of a war. In war, what is happening? Somebody is killing and somebody is get killed. That is the action that is happening. So there is a killer and there is somebody who get killed. So the agency and the object, right? So the subject and the object is always there in any action. So the one who thinks that I am the killer, or the one who thinks that I am the one who get killed. So hatam, meaning hantaram, the agent of the action or the object of the action. Na vijanitaha, both are mistaken. Because Atma, this Atma, na hanti, na hanyate. Na hanti means neither kills anyone nor get killed. So let me just simplify this. This appears to be very complicated. So you think that I did something to somebody else. I hit somebody. I think that I am the one who hit, and the other one thinks that I am the one who got hit. Krishna is saying that neither the one who hit or the one who got hit is not Atma. The Atma is beyond any action. Let me give you a simple example to understand this. Shankaracharya always go back to the dream analogy, Swapna Drishtanta. Let's say that in the dream, you helped somebody with some money. I think that I am the one who gave the money, and somebody else think that I am the one who got the money. But if you go to that transcendental plane, who gave the money? Who got the money? Everything is you. I didn't give the money, but my expression in that dream gave the money. So exactly like that. Exactly like that. Just think that. So in this world, we do a lot of action. And somebody is the subject and somebody is the object. But understand that both the subject and the object is Atma. And the Atma is neither the agent of any action, nor the Atma is an object of any action. So from that higher plane, there is no action happening. So from the higher transcendental plane, nothing happens in the dream, right? When you wake up, whatever happened? Nothing happened. Whatever happened was in the dream space, dream time. But in the waking world, that is irrelevant. So in that higher transcendental plane, all the actions, whether it is killing or getting killed, it doesn't matter. That is at the Vyavaharika level, that is at the relative level. At the absolute level, you are neither an agent of the action nor an object of the action. This is another dimension of Atma. We have been seeing so many different dimensions of Atma, right? So we have seen that Atma is Satyaha, absolute existence. We saw that Atma is Chit, consciousness. We saw that Atma is Sarvagataha, all pervading. We saw that Atma is Ekaha. We saw that Atma is Avyayaha. Atma is not subjected to change. We saw that Atma is Avinashi, meaning indestructible. We saw that Atma is Aprameyaha. That means it is not known through the normal means of knowledge. And finally, one more dimension. Atma is neither an agent of the action nor an object of the action. Let's quickly see at a glance, and then Avanti can comment. So here we say that Atma, our true self, is eternal and uninvolved, neither acting as an agent nor serving as an object. So you can see how we rolled up we transcend the context, because in the context of the Kurukshetra war, it is the killer and the killed. So we transcend that into an agent and an object. So this way it is applicable to all of us. The roles of doer and experience belong to the transient physical, mental, and intellectual identities we mistakenly associated with ourselves. Recognizing that Atma remains untouched by the actions and their outcome liberates us to engage in this world with clarity and detachment, grounded in the timeless, unchanging essence of our being. Because it gives us freedom in action. Nobody wants freedom from action. What we want is freedom in action. I should be able to do what needs to be done. So when you have this larger identity, you should be able to act freely. You should be able to act without any suffering. You should be able to engage actions with love and with a stress-free mind. You should be able to engage actions in that deep work or the flow, whatever we call in the neuroscience. That is what is the benefit of this knowledge. So let me hand over to Avanti for her comments.
So before commenting, I'd like to ask all of you a question. Hand on your heart, as you all are going through your life as you are, how many of you all actually believe that you are Atma? And with that absolute belief that I am Atma, you are able to interact in this world and go through your day-to-day living. After all these years of studies, after all these years of understanding the scriptures, at those moments when you are being hit by the world, how many of us can think, yes, we are Atma? And now, somebody's, yeah. Put this whole concept now in Arjuna, get into Arjuna's shoes for a moment. He's standing there and he is trying to kill, has to kill all his loved ones. And Krishna is telling Arjuna all of these things. You are Atma, you are Atma, you are Atma. Again, hand on your heart. Do you believe in that moment of extreme emotion, especially in chapter 2? Arjuna is believing any of this? No. So what, even afterwards, even when he says moha, delusion, all that is gone, now I will get up and fight. Interesting thing in the Mahabharata, which my teacher brought up, he said, everything is saying, I will get up and fight. Do you think he's understood the Gita fully? Do you think that he's understood that he's Atma fully? No. But what made him stand up there and fight that war and win it? It is because his teacher is standing there and telling him, none of it matters. Just do what you are supposed to do. And that is the essence that we have to take from the Bhagavad Gita. I teach very exuberant bunch. One of my classes is of newly married, extremely wealthy mothers, who are just getting into life. And every class they say, but we don't want to merge into Atma. We want to have this life. We want to come back again and again and again and again. It's such an innocent question because right now, everything is going good. Everything is going great. And they have extremely fortunate lives. But the thing is, if I don't know, Rajesh, you haven't done the karma series yet, right? You haven't done the 2 classes that we promised. We have to get into those karma classes. I can't wait for Rajesh to conduct that. We don't know how karma draws its lots. We don't know how the dice is going to roll. This time we might be page 3 circuit. Next time we might be in Dharavi. We don't know what is coming up for ripening. So what is this knowledge helping us with? Let Atma be. Yes, we are Atma, but none of us are going to believe that we are Atma at this point. What we were talking about, the relative reality. Even beyond this body, beyond this mind, beyond this intellect that is talking here as Avanti, there is something that is going to keep continuing. Let's focus on that. That is what the Bhagavad Gita says. So when Krishna says here, get up and fight, it means do the right thing. Fight means address whatever is in front of you in the best possible way that you can, because then, as Rajeshji has promised in one of the classes, you can skew your future destiny. You can skew where you're going next. Right now, without this knowledge, if we are not living our lives as per this knowledge, doing what we ought to do without our attachments, without our emotions, it's going to be a luck of draw. Whatever karmas we have is going to decide where we are going next. But the more and more we abide by this knowledge, the more and more we are able to distance ourselves from our bodies, from our intellect, from our emotions, and do the right thing. We do what we are ought to do. Rest assured, the game of life comes somewhat in our hands. Yes, Krishna says, my karma is impenetrable. You'll never understand it. But the more and more you are able to get a hold of this particular dream, to live it right as you can, that is going to help us move forward slowly in the direction towards evolution. So this knowledge is absolutely quintessential. The reason that we are keeping on saying, you are Atma, we are not going to use that. We are not going to use that at moments of stress. But if we can just use it beyond this particular body, beyond this particular life circumstance, which is, all karmic exchange, my mind and intellect is going to move forward. Let me do what is right. Let me settle these accounts well so that when I move forward, and as Krishna will most beautifully promise in the later chapters, you get fresher and fresher chances towards your evolution. He talks about being born in the house of the wealthy and the pure. All that is irrelevant. At the bottom of that is you will get greater opportunities to unobstructed walk the spiritual path. When Vivekananda was asked in the US, why are you coming here? We are well off. We are amazing. Why do we need your knowledge? Go to India. Half of it is dying over there. Half of it is poor. Half of it is hungry. He said, those people are still trying to make their ends meet. You all have gone up that Maslow's hierarchy. You all have come up to where basic needs are met. Now transcend to spirituality. Now take up these paths. So very, very important to understand this particular portion of the Gita, the impermanence of what we are inhabiting and the impermanence of what we are interacting with, whether it's our loved one, whether it's our enemies. So whenever you're thinking of Arjuna and you're thinking of yourself, it's the same thing. He's fighting a physical war. We are fighting every change that is hitting us, every challenge that is hitting us day by day. If we are able to do it with the, accords of chapter 3, Karma Yoga, how do we do it? Karmanyevadhikaraste, ma phaleshu kanachana. If you're able to incorporate this, you'll see how you change from moment to moment, will be on an evolutionary trajectory. Right now, without this knowledge, so my absolute plea to Gita students, especially, I love the Upanishads, I love listening to them. They are those, injections of life, where you think about all these high, lofty ideas. But when it comes to Gita, try and make every verse enable you to transcend what's in front of you. Look at it today. It could be a cup of coffee. Can you lose your battle with the cup of coffee? You have employed Gita. It could be an argument with your spouse. All these are get up and fight. When he's saying is fight in the right way. Fight so that you're not adding to that karma. So very important to draw this into your thing. 2 quick examples I'll give you is a movie screen. Now, when we're keeping on saying your Atma, Rajeshji so beautifully has explained, you're untouched. Whether somebody has killed your body, whether you have killed 10,000 bodies, you are untouched. The simplest example that you can take is of a movie screen. The movie screen, now I've grown up owning cinema theaters, so that movie screen example really hits with me. I hope I can explain it well. When you walk into a cinema, if you're the first, which I always was because I want the popcorn, so I go really early. So when I'm sitting over there, the screen is blank when you're waiting. Absolutely blank. You've gone for a comedy movie, you've gone for a horror movie, you've gone for a thriller movie. Different scenes start playing on that movie. At one point, there's a flood, all water. At one point, there is fire, everything is scorched. At one point, there are rapes, there are murders. At one point, there's hilarious comedy. When the movie stops, and if you stay, because I again stay right till the end because I love end credits, when you stop and truly wait for the movie screen to become white again, is the screen wet? Is the screen burnt? Any part of the screen, do you see that, oh, there was a fire on the screen, now the screen is burnt? Is the screen full of blood? Is the screen full of anything? It is just plain white. This is the analogy that can be used for these verses. We'll come into every life. Killing, being killed, I'm not saying physically, but various emotions of ours, whatever. Hurtling so many other challenges. All that will happen. Many things will happen on that white screen of Atma. But the minute that particular lifetime is over, and eventually all lifetimes are over, that Atma remains untouched. Through every lifetime, it is just empowering. It is just empowering. It is just empowering what is happening. And that empowering presence is you, within you. That eternal that we are continuously talking about. There's a beautiful quote by Shakespeare. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with it. All the world's a stage. And we are all just actors. Everyone has their exits and their entry. Every lifetime, forget about the other lifetimes, we don't know about it. But what the Shastras are telling you, this particular lifetime is just a stage. Nothing more. A stage enacted by some god or by the Devi that we are worshipping right now? No. It's with your own karmas and with your own whatever. Krishna says, I'm just the seed that is planted. After that, Prakriti takes off on its own. It writes its own stories. So those stories are being played out. What is our role over here? Start re-scripting those stories. What we have done so far in oblivion, in stupidity, in foolishness, start putting wisdom into it. Start putting knowledge into it. Start putting the Bhagavad Gita verses into it and start re-scripting those stories to absolute purity. And when we reach that stage, maybe Bahunama Janmanamante, maybe after many lifetimes, maybe in this lifetime, who knows? When we are able to completely wipe out that story that we have only started, we will reach this particular spot of complete emergence, what Sanjay ji had asked in some previous classes, pot space and, all space. When that pot completely breaks, we merge into purity. But up till then, keep focusing on the fact, yes, I am Atma. Yes, I'm that white movie screen. No matter what happens, I remain untouched. And in the meanwhile, that mind and intellect, I keep purifying. The vasanas, I keep purifying. The karmas, I keep purifying, because that is the suitcase I'm carrying from lifetime to lifetime.
Okay. So just one more reminder. The style of the Gita, we always talked. There are two approaches followed in Sanatana Dharma. One style is you don't reveal the end goal, but you guide the seeker step by step so that finally he reached the end goal. A lot of these bhakti masters have tried that path. But the approach of the Gita is slightly different. Krishna shows the highest first. That is why the ultimate is revealed first. And then he says, that's where you need to go. That is the mountaintop you need to go. And then he will guide you step by step. So up to Shloka 30, meaning up to 25 mainly, is going to show about that highest goal of our life, highest possibilities of life. It doesn't matter we reach there or not, but it's important that we set that as our goal direction. And one more thing is that this doesn't like ask you to drop everything else you have. So in the whole Vedanta, there are four goals: Artha, Kama, Dharma, and Moksha. Artha means all the securities, wealth, everything you earn. Kama is all your pleasures and happiness and anything you do for fun and happiness. Dharma means the charity and the harmony and the purpose you live in your life, all that comes under the dharma. And ultimately, it is moksha. So Krishna is not asking you to drop your artha and kama. So this is what the important teachings of the Gita. A lot of people think that when they become spiritual, artha kama becomes irrelevant. So what he's like, it's meaning, think about your, earlier your goal was 50, he raised that into 1,000,000. That's it. So 50 is going to stay there. You can reach that first milestone and you can proceed. So that's very important to keep that always in the mind. This is not asking us to leave the world and run away. Arjuna had that confusion. That's what he's going to ask in the 3rd chapter. And Krishna clarifies that very well. But these are some of the key points we need to keep in mind. So let's look at a table. It's there in the book also. So this is the table. So doership, Atma, meaning the misconception is the Atma performs action. But the fact about Atma, because the body performs action, that is true. Or the individuality performs action, but Atma is beyond action. It is akarta. The second one is Atma experiences the result of action. Body and the individuality experiences the result of the action, but Atma is abhokta, no enjoyer. Then change. Atma is affected by the actions and changes. Body is affected, mind is affected, the physical body, the subtle body, even the causal body is affected by all the actions and changes, but the Atma is unchanging and eternal. And the association with the body, the Atma is tied to the body's action. The fact of the matter is Atma is distant and unaffected by the body. And again, if you think about the Swapna Drishtanta, all these points will be very clear. In dream, you perform some action. You think that, did you perform? No, the actual you didn't perform. But the actual you is absolute must have for the dream body and mind to perform that action. In the dream, you experienced something. Is that you? No. But your mind is absolute must have for the dream body and mind to experience that. So are you affected by the action? Have you changed? Nothing. You are beyond all that. This is the ultimate understanding of yourself. At this point of time, this is given as a theory, but even that theory is not came to your direct experience, and Krishna is going to explain why. There are 3 things blocks you from experiencing this knowledge. So we will see that Mala Vikshepa Avarana. So if you have any doubt, go back to our first book, which is called The First Step in Bhagavad Gita. These topics are very clearly outlined. Let's go to the final point. This particular shloka influenced a lot of personalities, and particularly in America, I just wanted to point out one person, Emerson. He has written a beautiful poetry on this particular shloka, inspired from this shloka. So it is called the Red Slayer. Avanti, you wanted to read this poetry and explain, probably? You're on mute.
Ralph Waldo Emerson has written this, and it's shocking. It almost feels like a verbatim lift up from this Bhagavad Gita verse, which incidentally also is connected to the Upanishad, Kathopanishad. Anyway, if the red slayer think he slays, or if the slain think he is slain, they know not well the subtle ways I keep and pass and turn again. In 4 lines, he's literally reenacted this thing, and he talks about even rebirth, that it's all just temporary. The last line, I keep, I pass, and I turn again. So brilliant. It's amazing when you look at it. The first time I came across, I said, wait, I've read this in the Bhagavad Gita. This can't be. And then I realized the whole connection, that he was one of the people, the poets. We write through our books, we've given very, very many people who have been inspired by the Upanishads and who've written amazing things on it.
Imagine this is from a translation of a translation of a translation he understood. He never had the luxury of studying it deep, but even that little exposure he had, that much inspiration was given. That is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. So this particular shloka, just read, as Avanti said, look at the original Sanskrit, and this, it's pretty much the same. Okay, so let's go to the reflection, and Avanti, if you could just give the reflection and the quote, that would be great.
Do you sometimes feel trapped by the identities and roles society has assigned you? Would understanding your true self to be beyond all roles and identities infuse greater authenticity and freedom in all your activities and relationships? Try and think about this. There's a WhatsApp forward or something that keeps going viral every now and then. If you had no concern about money, or if you had no fear of death, what would you get up and do now? The reflective quote is somewhat like that. Right now, all our interactions in the world are dictated by all our fears. If I lose my job, what if, my relationship goes wrong? And we try and, wear these different masquerades to be beholden to everything. But what this makes you reflect on is that we've just studied that you are eternal. You are that white movie screen. Many things will happen on you, but you remain untouched. If you were really able to believe that, how would you differently live your life today? Would you speak the words that you were meant to speak to somebody? Would you stand in your truth? Would you leave your current job that totally does not add to anything spiritual or material? Would you have the guts to go and do something else? Our whole life, and I have seen students of Gita go through a paradigm shift in their material life when they start understanding these verses, because the fear starts dropping. Right now, if you see, everything in our life that we do is dictated by those fears. So this particular reflective quote, reflective prompt is asking you, think, if you really believe you are Atma. Think, if you really believe this is temporary. Think, if you know that this is not going to last forever, how would you live your life differently? Please write your answer to this, and please share it in the group chats, In fact, I would encourage everybody in the question and answer group chat, if you could just in 2-3 lines explain to us your answer to this question, because it will help us learn. We are all just walking each other home. So the more we share our experiences, the more we answer these questions on the group chat, we will help each other through different paths. And then the final quote reads, the Atma does not act, nor is it acted upon. It simply shines, eternal and free. And just imagine that Atma, Krishna says, is you and me. So nice thought to take home.
And there is one thing which Krishna tells, I think it is said by Shankaracharya at this point of time. He said, like, when you grow bigger than the problems appears to be so small to you. Right now, what is bothering you? Because you're standing as very small compared to the problem. And believe me, such people will deal with the problem much better than we are. Guaranteed. So this is the beauty of this particular teaching. So again, it's an assurance that everything is not coming to an end. So that assurance is good enough for us to follow this path. That is where we need to take. That is the practical take home, because you cannot expect to get self-realized tomorrow. So with this assurance, let's move on to the Karma Yoga later. We will come to the law of karma. Once we complete Shloka 25, we will take a pause and we will take 2 or 3 lessons and go through the entire series of karma theory.